we have JP Morgan Chase's headquarters at 47 and Park Avenue. This is a building that was formerly the Union Carbide building. It's actually going to be completely torn down. Now you look at it and you're going to say, why on earth would they want to tear down a perfectly good building? Well, they actually want to put up a building that's even bigger and more modern for JP Morgan Chase. Now, this will be designed by Norman Foster, and it's going to be 2.5 million square feet. And it's going to be a 70-story tower. And the current offices, the building that you're seeing, are actually formerly the headquarters of Union Carbide. And it was like an incredible building when it was built. And this building that you're seeing is only 700 feet tall. The new building is going to be 1,200 feet tall. Now, this was first announced in February of 2018, and this was under the city's new Midtown East zoning rules. Those are the same rules that are allowing the One Vanderbilt building to be built right next to Grand Central. So I think a lot of big corporations are saying, let's act now before they change the rules again, because sometimes cities have a way of doing that. Then now, under this rezoning, landmarks can sell and transfer unused development rights within the 78 block area. So that means that some of the older rules that were used are being thrown out. So now JP Morgan bought rights from this church at 50th and Park Avenue, St. Bartholomew's Church, that is selling selling their air rights and selling some other rights too. Now, this is going to be really great. However, the preservationists in New York, people who like the architecture that was here before, are really upset. They're saying, how can you do that? But you know what? This Union Carbide building that you're seeing here was never landmarked. So there's no way to prevent this from going on. And JP Morgan also is like that really big firm that is a favorite of a city. So New York City, unless they have really massive opposition to this, is probably going to go ahead with this. And you can see they're already pretty much proceeding ahead with the demolition. You know, it's emptying out the offices and sealing everything off. It's going to really be a great development, great project, and it's a matter of progress. This happens all the time in New York, and some people don't like it, and some people do. We'll take another look at the building. It's just an amazing building, and like when you look at it, you say, there's no rational reason to tear a building like this down. It's one of the largest buildings in the country to be torn down, even though it's perfectly good. Take a closer view of the building. You can see it has a lot of space. So they're going to build a really massive structure. You can see the unused space in the back that they're probably going to use as part of the 1,200 foot building. So you're going to have a lot of additional square footage. So that's most likely part of the reason that JP Morgan wants to do this, and they have the capital to do this, and the timing is just right too, because the city, as I mentioned, wants developers to use extra space and to build up more buildings. One of the problems I see going forward is going to be, with a huge increase in space, there's going to be a huge increase in the number of people in the Grand Central area, and I don't think they're going to be increasing the road space and the transportation in the same amount as the people that will be using it. So you're going to have a lot of overcrowding, which is going to present its own problem. I'm sure they thought this through, but they're probably weighing how it's much nicer to have the additional square footage, the additional tax revenue, versus the extra number of people. But that all goes into the planning, urban planning of these new structures that go up. Let's take a closer view of the exterior. Just a beautiful building. And as I said, it looks perfectly good. It doesn't make any, for a person thinking about it, it wouldn't make any sense for them to tear it down, except that they're going to have a huge amount of increase in space for tearing down a good building. And now they can do it. So everything looks good for them to do it. They can get the rights and makes it much, much easier. And the city is on board with this. So that's like half the battle. You can see the whole property is surrounded by a fence to kind of make sure that it's all cordoned off. And you can see if we look down Park Avenue, so much development is going on. You can see the famous 432 Park Avenue. It's built a number of years ago, a classic structure. A lot of traffic is always going down Park Avenue. As we look south from 270 Park Avenue, just to give an indication of the buildings around here, you see all the other beautiful buildings around here. No one has said yet that they're going to tear down these other buildings, but I'm sure it's going to happen. And there you see the Helmsley building, right at Park Avenue and 46th Street. Park Avenue actually goes around the Helmsley building and around Grand Central, and then continues southbound on the island of Manhattan. And you can see here another beautiful building that we have right next to the other buildings that we saw. Just amazing how many beautiful buildings there are around here. But because of the zoning change, this is probably going to change in the next 10, 20, 30 years, and you're going to see a lot more tall buildings all around here. It just makes sense. If you have the opportunity to double the building size or triple the building size, you're going to do it because you can. And it's not because you're trying to destroy history. It's just that it's more profitable to build a much larger building now when the city allows you to, than to wait and then have to pay a lot more money later on. And right now the interest rates are very low. So it allows a lot of the banks to borrow at next to nothing and then put up massive buildings and have a great monument to their past. You can see here another building right opposite 270 Park Avenue. You can see all the beautiful buildings in the distance here. And this is looking north on Park Avenue. And the building that looks a little greenish with the white shades is the Lever Building. And that is a classic New York building also. Owned by RFR Realty. It's a German real estate investment group, sort of like a real estate investment trust by US standards. But it's just an amazing area around here. Incredible developments going on. Exciting to be in the real estate area or sector for all these developers right now in New York. And again, what we're looking at is 270 Park Avenue. It's going to be torn down completely, and they're going to go from a 700-foot building, which it's at right now. They're going to make it into a 1,200-foot building. Brand new headquarters for JP Morgan Chase. Let's take one last look at this magnificent building. On 48th Street side of the JP Morgan Chase headquarters, you can see more work being done for the demolition of the building. You can see how extensive the work is and how much effort it's going to take. Of course, they're not doing it all at once. You know, they have to empty the offices, make sure everything moves in a planned fashion, but you can see them getting rid of the back section first. Of course, they could eliminate that section much more easily because it has less space and a fewer number of occupants. And this is looking down 48th Street and looking west on 48th Street. Chance to see the beautiful building. '48th and Park Avenue. That's where it's being filmed from.